Good morning. Our final reflection for this morning on dealing with suffering and dealing with the things that God allows, that God is using, but that God is not authoring in our lives. One of the things that I want to encourage you to do is so frequently what ends up happening is we give in to resentment. If we're not honest with God, it puts us in a desert. And maybe you've heard this phrase before. If you're going through a desert, keep going. Don't just build a tent in the desert. Don't just get content being in the desert. That frequently desert experiences that we have are on us, that we have actually kind of sat down and said, I'm not going any further. I don't know if you've probably seen kids do that, where they'll just sit down, when mom and dad says, come with me, and they'll just sit down in that place and they'll pout in it. And I think frequently we do this in our own souls, that we get ourselves into a place where resentment and the lack of understanding, the lack of perspective causes us to just kind of bed down and sometimes even, I think, throw a tantrum and just say, well, God, if you're going to be like that, then I'm going to be like this. And we stop walking in trust. We stop doing the spiritual disciplines that have actually fed us through all kinds of other situations that we've gone through. We stop doing the things that are positive, and we start doing all kinds of things that actually harm us and harm our walks with God. And I want to call upon you today to actually, if you're going through a desert, keep going. Keep going and keep moving with God. Keep going through the desert instead of just sitting down and saying, well, this desert, I guess, is the way that it's going to be. And perhaps there's somebody that you know that's going through or is in a desert right now that needs to hear this. I want to ask that you would forward this to them, or that you would encourage them even just to say, hey, this pastor guy that I know of said this, and maybe this would be helpful to you, or just send this particular link to them. But if you're going through a desert, keep going.